Good evening. We'll reconvene our session at 6:09 p.m. What if any action taken in connection pursuant to Government Code Section 54957? Report. Pledge of Allegiance by Brianna Gutierrez, Secoy Liaison.
One nation, with law, liberty, and justice.
For the recognition, Red Ribbon Art Contest winner, Cochran, safety.
Good evening, board members, families, fellow colleagues, children. Thanks for joining us this evening. We're really excited to be here to discuss our art contest for Red Ribbon Week. To my right is literally my right hand, Karen Avila. She's the secretary of PSA. So thank you so much for being here and being on our team. We also have Trish Wilson, our coordinator of mental health services, and our specialist of school safety, Mr. Javier Villalobos Olmedo. It's a great team that I get to work with. So couldn't do this without them. Without further ado, let's get into what everybody's here to see tonight, right? And those are our winners for the Lancaster School District's Red Ribbon Week Art Contest. First up, Romeo De La Torre from Sierra Elementary School. This is his artwork. He's representing all of kindergarten across the school district. Fortunately, he got the special. Next, we have Amelia Chavez. There we go. Thank you. Amelia Chavez from Nancy Corey, first grade. Ileana Marquez, Nancy Corey, third grade. Jaleel Uribe, Jack Northrop, fourth grade. Jack Chadwick, also from Nancy Corey, fifth grade. Karina Frias Ramos, Amargosa Creek, seventh grade. Abigail Mendoza, Amargosa Creek, 8th grade. Haley Medina. R. Jack Northrop, 2nd grade. One moment to advance our slide. Drum roll, please, for the grand prize winners. Are you ready? From 1st grade, representing kindergarten through 2nd grade, Amelia Chavez, Nancy Corey. Our grand prize winners have an additional prize. Mom might need to come help. It's a little heavy. Congratulations. Alelia Reedy, Jack Northrop, 4th grade, representing. And 6th, 7th, 8th grade, Abigail Mendoza from Amargosa Creek. For family members, anyone who'd like to come up and take a quick photo of the group, you're welcome to do so. Administrators to accord. Great job. And again, thank you for participating. We appreciate your taking the time and sitting in your.
Next, we'll move on to the Better Program with Alicia Casey, Director of Student Activity and Development.
Good evening to everyone, board, our executive cabinet, our audience. Today, we are here to celebrate our graduating Better Program residents and introduce our new Better Program residents. So the Better Program, which stands for Black Educator Teacher Residency Program, is an alternative pathway for students seeking a preliminary teaching credential. In order to align with our community demographics, the Better Program puts a focus on Black, Indigenous, people of color student learning and utilizes data to guide instruction, gives time to collaborate with educational partners to create an inclusive environment, and supports implementing and supporting culturally responsive and sustaining pedagogical practices. During January through December, Better residents work in the classroom with mentor teachers Monday through Wednesday. They attend their classes, their courses with CSUB on Thursdays, and the residents are able to sub for the Lancaster School District on Fridays. The resident teachers are also able to participate in professional learning at their assigned site and with our district.
Hello, Superintendent Marietti, board members, and cabinet. My name is Rhonda Conti, and I am the co-coordinator for the Better Residency Program with CSUB Antelope Valley campus and a former Lancaster School District teacher. I want to thank the Student Equity Department, which includes the mentor teachers, as well as the Departments of Human Resources and Curriculum Instruction and Assessment for supporting the residents for the last 2 years. This collaboration between the university and the district not only prepares the resident teachers to secure the credentials they need, but also with the skills and classroom experience to be successful teachers, specifically in the Lancaster School District. So thank you.
Okay, so the residency program provides an emphasis on Afrocentric cultural competency and gives these future teachers the confidence of being well prepared to start teaching in their own classroom. It also provides a network of mentors and staff who are dedicated to their support. And we are proud to say that this year we have 4 residents that have been hired within the Lancaster School District, and we have 5 new residents that will be starting in the classrooms, and actually they already started on the 13th. So to help celebrate the residents who were in the Better program this past year, I'm going to invite their mentor teachers to come up to help us recognize them. So first I would like to call up Michaela Ellis, who's a kinder teacher at Monmouth.
Thank you. I would like to recognize Caesar for completing the 2024 Better program. During this year in the program, he built amazing relationships with our students. He provided fun and engaging lessons for all the kids, and he was a great co-teacher to collaborate with and work with for the beginning of the year. We greatly miss him, but we are congratulating him on becoming a teacher in the Lancaster School District today, and he will be teaching 3rd grade at Jack Northrop for the remainder of this school year. Yep. These are come on down.
Next, I would like to call up Joanne Smith. She's a 2nd grade teacher at Desert View.
Evening. I'd like to recognize Katie for completing the 2024 Better program. During her year in the program, Katie has done an awesome job at creating lessons, giving lessons, developing relationships, classroom management. The list goes on and on and on. For all the things we do, she did. And so I'm very proud of her. And I say congratulations to Katie on becoming a teacher in the Lancaster School District. She will be teaching at Desert View in the SEL room for the remainder of the school.
Unfortunately, 2 of our mentors are sick today. So we have the fabulous Krista Thompson, who will come help us celebrate for Sheila Barnes. She's a 3rd grade teacher at Miller, and also Amber Thornton, who's a 1st grade teacher at Lincoln.
Or substitute, but I'm honored to recognize. I would like to recognize Elizabeth for completing the 2024 Better program. During her year in the program, she has evolved as an educator and has become more confident and competent in teaching and supporting students. Congratulations, Elizabeth, on becoming a teacher in the Lancaster School District. She will be teaching 2nd grade at Miller for the remainder of this school year. I would like to recognize Sky for completing the 2024 Better program. During her year in the program, Sky really took advantage of this amazing opportunity. From day one, she took observations and made relationships. She reflected and connected scenarios to what she was learning in the program. She was intentional in her lesson planning and making improvements for the next lesson. She is a dedicated and compassionate teacher who will have a huge impact on the lives of her students. Congratulations, Sky, on becoming a teacher in the Lancaster School District. She will be teaching 6th grade at New Vista for the remainder of this school year.
Unfortunately, Elizabeth and Sky has been sick. are unable to be here with us. But last but not least, we would like to call up Angeline, who is a 6th grade teacher at Desert View.
I would like to Daniel Thompson for completing the 2024 Better Program. During the year in the program, he did an excellent job of building rapport with the students, getting to know them and getting comfortable with them, finding out ways to not just become a better teacher, but to become even a better student so that he could learn how to apply what he learned in the classroom into his own classroom one day. So I look forward to seeing what he's going to do when he leaves the district, and I can't wait to see who he becomes when he and the next time we see him. So Daniel, we salute you and we're proud of what you have done. Congratulations.
A quick congratulations to our graduating Better residents. We have Nancy Talbot, who has been their supervisor for
Just real quickly, as somebody who believes in a growth mindset, this job has been the perfect one for me because I get to see them start in January, mid-year, think of the challenge that is, and then finish up the following fall. And the growth mindset, every one of these has gone from a little deer in the headlights to a competent teacher by the time they finish the program. And I want to offer congratulations and thank you to the mentors. You're all awesome.
Now we would like to introduce you to our 2025 new resident teachers who are here with us today. In kinder at Monte Vista, we have Elijah. And at 3rd grade at Miller, we have Cindy will be with us. 2nd grade at Desert View, we have Anakin. 1st grade at Lincoln will be Aaron. And then 6th grade at Desert View will be Zakaya, who's unfortunately not here with us today. Down just a little bit and London. Sure. With them. While they're taking the picture, I just want to say thank you to the board members and executive cabinet for your continued support of the Better program. We appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Now we have the roll.
Enrollment count as of this morning, TK is 13,854. Early learning was 433 students for a total of 14,287. This is a gain of 21 students from our board meeting in December. It's a decrease, though, of 236 students from the same month last year. Of our total population, 1,099 identified as homeless, 872 identified as foster, 683 students, parents, both parents who are members of the armed forces.
On to curriculum highlights. Nancy Corey. Welcome, Mr. Denny. Staff. All right. Slides to present. We'd like to present some of the work that we've been doing as a community school, share some of our efforts. And I have Mr. Joe Nosik here, my assistant principal. And then also we have Brianna Contreras, our community liaison, and Mimi Honeywell, our family ambassador. And then we also have Mr. Acosta, one of our parents, and Mrs. Calic, also one of our parents. So they're going to be the ones presenting. So I'm going to step aside and turn it over to Brianna.
Thank you for having us here tonight. So my name is Brianna Contreras. I'm the community school liaison, and Nancy Corey. And tonight, like Mr. Jennings said, we'll be presenting our community school progress. So what is a community school? This is something that we've been implementing district-wide this year. A community school initiative is meant to address the whole child, not just a student's academic needs, but also their social and emotional development. This initiative shows how we plan to support our students in and out of the school building while connecting the school and the community. Community schools consist of 4 components known as the 4x4 framework. Tonight, I'll be focusing on the 4 pillars, which is the foundation component. So implementing the 4 pillars will help us achieve our long-term goal of transforming our schools into a full-service community school. What does that mean? Our schools will be a place to foster improved learning, create family engagement, support healthier communities, giving our students the necessary conditions to thrive. So let's show you what that looks like in action.
Good evening. So looking at our first pillar, expanded and enriched learning time and opportunities, we have several programs that we have at our school site, one of them being ELO, which is offered district-wide, and some site-specific activities to our campus. What some of that looks like, currently we have in our ELO program 126 students of ours enrolled. They are offered after-school activities, homework help, a snack, and dinner before being sent home. Some of our more site-specific activities include our legal sports clinic. This semester, we completed our flag football and our volleyball. Next semester, we will be implementing basketball and cheer. We also have our Coyote Choir, which performs annually at the LPAC. They're a great example of the talent that we have at Nancy Corey. We also have our ballroom dance force that has competed in a few competitions across the AV and brought home several trophies. Next, we have our PAC program. The PAC program is actually what brought me as a parent to Nancy Corey. It is our performing arts club. Under that umbrella, we have several smaller clubs: drama, dance, choir, art, and stage crew. This is something that I take pride in at our school. It is a very large program. These are 8 to 11-year-old children putting on full-blown production. Everything from the sound, the light. Our art club creates our props, our stage sets. The stage crew is changing our scenes in between. We have our actors, our dancers, and our singers. We also have our STEAM club, known as the GATE, working on some robotics. We have tutoring that we have offered previously to our kindergarten and first graders. We recently extended that to our EL students. And this year we are now offering tutoring to all grade levels with collaboration and ELO, and a fabulous resource teacher, Shannon Swift, has helped make that happen this year. We also have our 5th grade ambassadors. They are our leaders on campus. They help us facilitate PBIS rotations. They're just our students that our kids can look up to. Our next pillar we're going to be looking at has been our main focus this year: active family and community engagement. Listed here are some of our events that we've had this year. We did have our Attendance Matters Color Run on Information Day, which helped us we achieved our goal of 96% attendance. We also have been able to really work with our families and community. We had a sock drive where we collected 452 pairs of socks that went to Grace Resources. With the help of our family this year, our PTO was able to collect over 1,038 food items. We were able to make baskets for 10 of our families. Not only were we able to help them out during Thanksgiving, we were able to extend that into the holiday season as well, the winter holiday season. In bringing in our parents into the campus and having them more involved, we have seen all of our fundraisers supersede previous years. When I started this year, we had 15 district badged volunteers. We currently have 31. Of those new 16 volunteers, 15 actively volunteer on campus. We have also reached out to the community. We've done fundraisers at Vince's, which gives our parents a chance to sit down and actually get to know one another. Another thing we do is our Nancy Corey Fall Festival. This was a huge success this year. Our pre-sale tickets outsold our previous year's total profits in just this 1 year. We also were able to reach out to the high school and incorporate some high school students to not only help us host the event, but obtain the hours that they need for graduation. We also had them come and help us host our movie night, which was the biggest turnout we've seen this year as well. We had some of our parents there to help us with our Holly Jolly Shop, which is also a fundraiser that we do at our school. Lastly, we've been involving our parents in our PBIS Coyote Cash store, where our kids spend their Coyote Cash, which is how we incentivize them to do the right thing and encourage them. Having the parents see what we're doing and how we use our howl and how it's affecting our students and their behavior has been great. Lastly, we implemented Tune In Mondays, is where we play music at the gate for the students to come into on Monday. It starts out their week on a good note, and we are available to parents for conversations, questions, and we also have calendars and all of our events going on for that month. And below, you'll just see some of the feedback that we've received from that. And Ms. Breed will take you through our next two pillars.
So our third pillar is collaborative leadership and practices. This is the pillar where we're able to build capacity for our families, our community partners to participate and collaborate in our school. Those are a few things listed right there. So first, our school advisory committees. We host the PTO, School Site Council, ELAC, and AAAC monthly. These give our families the opportunity to express things that they would like to see. They can participate in budget and just, how to make our school better. At the bottom left is our first PTO meeting, which was a really great turnout. We had to do multiple trips to bring our families to the room. At this meeting, we were able to collaborate to see how we could build school spirit, and something they suggested was a mascot. And Nancy Corey, we are the Coyotes. At our fall festival, we were able to raise half of the money through our Spin the Wheel, and the other half was donated by a very generous family of ours and their business. Coffee with the Principal is another thing that we host, where parents can express things that they would like to see as well, but it's less, it's more conversational and it has more of a community approach. Next, we have our parent workshops. This year we were able to host parenting partners. It was really awesome because we had 8 new parents who have never done any of our parent workshops before. One of our parents loved it so much that she went to our facilitator meeting for the Family Meals Challenge, which we'll be hosting this spring, and we'll also be incorporating in Spanish. The next slide right here, we have our PALS parents, which is our parents as leaders. We had 4 parents participate this past semester, 2 focus on attendance and 2 focus on our mental health. Right here, the picture on the left, we did an attendance refreshments, is where we were able to incentivize parents with hot chocolate because they went out of their way to make sure the kids were on time, it promoted good spirit, and you can see a couple of happy parents right there. In the top left, something unique to our school, we have atriums. Atriums are outdoor spaces within the school. 2 of our family members suggested to create this into a calming corner. This will give our students the chance to go in there, decompress, get a fresher breath air, and then be able to go back to their class. The last pillar is integrated student supports. This is where all of our mental and physical services come into play. The school district provides breakfast in the classroom, ESO Health, and bright smiles, or big smiles, sorry. They offer that throughout the whole district, and it's something that, for example, breakfast with the classroom, some students don't get to eat breakfast at home. So when they come in, it gives them that opportunity. This next slide right here, we have a care closet. The school district supplies the whole district with hygiene, but our lovely counselor was able to use some separate funds, and she was able to get clothes, shoes, backpacks, school supplies umbrellas, blankets. By fulfilling those other needs, it allows the kids to focus more on their education. This is what we had left over of our food drive. One thing we didn't know or didn't realize before is the food insecurity. And by having this on hand, whenever parents come in and they need something, we have bags ready to go. And we also have a wider option if they'd like to just browse. And lastly, I wanted to create some pictures. We had our community room. Our community room hosts a lot of the things that were discussed today. Our book fairs, our parent workshops, many of our meetings. We want this to be a hub where our families feel welcome to come and receive those services and supports. And then we'll have our parents share their testimony.
I want to thank the school board tonight for giving us the opportunity to speak. I want to thank Principal Danny and Principal Joe for their leadership. I want to thank all the teachers in attendance also, because I know you donated more time. So I just wanted to kind of praise Amelia and Brianna and their leadership in this new program. They've done some amazing work over the last 12 months. I've been volunteering at the school since my mom started about 3 years ago. And the culture, the engagement, the sense of just belonging has drastically improved. They're doing a variety of different programs that are not only addressing the needs of the community, but the wants. And more over the last 10 months, I've noticed that we feel more involved. We feel like we're being listened to and heard, and we feel like we have a voice. I really want to take a second to thank Brianna and Mimi for all their hard work on this. Thank you, guys.
I have an older son that's going to go to school a long time ago. Now, I say that now the difference is being able to have access to people that are actually truly running the school. And that's something I appreciate. These women are getting out there and meeting parents. And I think if you have more of that, you know them, you want to not disappoint them. And I think that's really important for parents to see them trying and working so hard with the kids. Also, the principal and vice principal, they're outside every day. Every parent, if they have wanted to talk to them, they can go talk to them. I've never been more impressed by the staff at this school that I've seen, and even just seeing them deal with the students one-on-one out of their work, it's impressive. With everything they've done with the kids, it's very impressive. They're very interactive and they care, which is the biggest thing I think a parent should see is the people working with their kids is how much they actually care about the kids. So I just want to say thank you, because it's them that's really making a big difference at this school. So I appreciate it, guys.
It goes by that they're not at the school doing something, helping out in one capacity or another. And we just really lucked out when we got Mimi and Brianna in those positions. They meshed just like that. And it's kind of funny, every time I see them come down the hall, I'm like, okay, here goes something else, because they're always just coming up with ideas, and I love it. I think I always say yes, pretty much. But thank you also, district, for allowing us to have community liaisons and family ambassadors. Thank you, board, for allowing us to have that. We've seen a big difference in the services that we're being able to provide for our parents this year, for sure. And so I thank you for allowing us to present. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Nancy Corey. Our bond insurance overview.
Mr. Elson, we were expecting Emilio Flores. He's a little bit under the weather, and so the always dependable Kushro Giara is here to present on his behalf. Come on, Kush.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kush Giara with CFW. Thank you for inviting me to your meeting tonight. I've had the pleasure of serving as your district's financial advisor for over 3 years. And it's the third bond program that I will be working on for your district. I'm going to give you a brief overview presentation of the state of the bonds. With me over here tonight is also your underwriter, Prentice Wright. Printing. If there's any specific questions about market conditions, he'll be happy to jump in and answer. But just as a way of overview, it was about 6 months ago that I was at the office. I'm sorry, this is forwarded. That I was over here in front of the board for you to consider a resolution. The district had been looking at this opportunity for a while. There was additional facilities to be funded, but you wanted to go out to the community at the right time, and an opportunity presented itself to be able to issue new bonds as old bonds were paid down. So you would be able to do it without impacting the overall tax rate. On July 16th, the board voted to call a $120.1 million election. The voters voted on November 5th, vote by mail, and at the polls, you needed a 55% support. You got almost a 2/3, so just about a 2/3 level of support, so quite a bit more than what you need to pass the bond. And when you pass an election at that level, at 2/3 level, when people are willing to invest their money in your school, it goes beyond a well-run campaign. It's a testament to the work the board is doing, your staff is doing, your teachers are doing. When 2/3 of your community is willing to continue to invest in education and schools in your community. So kudos to the board, the staff and the teachers for that. Most people would love to have a 7% approval rating posted. The election is now being certified by the county, so you're in a position to begin the issuance of the bonds, and that's what we've been working with your staff on last month or so. So the overall process to issue bonds is pretty straightforward. I know many of you on the board have been through it before. The district considers the general terms of the bond. We then come back to you with a resolution which authorizes the sale of the bonds. Once we have the board's approval to proceed with the bond sale, the next step is to seek a credit rating, just like we personally have credit ratings. The district has a credit rating. We want to get the highest possible credit rating for the transaction because that results in the lowest cost to taxpayers. Once we have the board approval and the rating, we then go ahead and the finance team publishes a prospectus, a preliminary official statement that provides factual information about the district to potential investors. Investors make the choice whether they wish to invest in your bonds or not. The bonds are then priced, which is interest rates are locked in, and then the transaction closes. The whole process is about 3 to 4 months. We anticipate that sometime by March, the transaction should close, and the district should have funds available. Just as a recap of the election structure, once again, the 1999 election bonds were the first ones that I worked on for the district, are now about to mature and be fully paid off. So the intent of the new election, of the new bond program, is to come back and backfill the amount that voters were paying for the 99 election after that election is paid off. When we ran the election indicating to voters that we would not be increasing tax rates. Realistically, though, tax rates are actually going to drop a little bit once the old bonds are paid off and the new bonds are structured and layered in. So coming back to you at your next board meeting, there will be a resolution that authorizes the first issuance of the bonds. The resolution outlines certain parameters of the bond sale, the maximum amount of bonds that we can sell, and it also brings you drafts of the purchase contract as well as the preliminary official statement. The resolution will also contain certain good faith estimates as to what we anticipate the interest rate to be, how much the financing cost will be, etc. And then the resolution authorizes district staff, your superintendent and your CPO to go ahead and execute the documents needed to be able to complete the bond sale. And there'll also be a resolution that's coming to you to either be able to establish or reconstitute an oversight committee. Part of Prop 39, the reason that you're able to pass a bond at 55% is because there is a citizens oversight committee that monitors expenditures. Their job is to monitor the expenditures of the bond program, make sure it's consistent with what you told voters you would spend the money on. And as you may recall, the resolution calling the election actually had a project list published in the resolution that was also published in the sample ballot that went to the voters. So the job of the community or the oversight committee is to be able to monitor that you are spending the money consistent with the pattern which you have told voters that you would spend the money. There are certain components that there's certain members that you need for the oversight committee. There needs to be a senior citizen, a taxpayer association representative, someone active in the business organization, a parent teacher organization, and members at large. Sometimes it's not possible to get all of these categories to volunteer their time, but the district needs to make a good faith estimate at least to be able to attempt to get these folks to serve on your oversight. So with that, once the board adopts the documents, the next step, once I had mentioned, is the bond rating. Your district is very highly rated right now. You're an 8+ credit rating. Folks understand that when the bonds of your district are desirable to purchase, they're purchased bonds in the past. I see no issue with being able to secure a strong credit rating, but we will be bringing your staff up to San Francisco to interview in person with the rating analyst. There's a lot of positive findings that we have going for us, but there are some challenges that your staff will have to mitigate. For example, the rating agencies are concerned that there's uncertainty in the economy. If the economy does slow down in the state of California, that's going to impact the funding for schools, and they're going to quiz your staff as to what measures, what steps you would take if there were cuts in the budget to come down, and how you would deal with that. This is not the first time your district would be doing state cuts. You've done that before, and I have no doubt that your staff will be doing a fabulous job in presenting that information, presenting your strengths, and mitigating any concerns they may have. I fully expect that we will maintain our A+ rating despite the pressures that we may face. So once we have the board approval, and once we have the rating, next step is to go ahead and price the bonds. Mr. Wright's firm will be working about a week before the actual bond sale to engage with investors and encourage them to purchase your bonds. In the old days, the folks who would purchase school bonds were high net worth individuals. Today, most folks don't buy individual bonds. They buy bonds through a fund. So we look at bond funds coming in to purchase our bonds. Our goal is to try and have more folks out there to buy our bonds. Selling the bonds is demand and supply. There is no published rate for a Lancaster School District bond on any stock exchange. It's what you're able to negotiate. And so the goal is to be able to attract as many investors, hopefully with the goal of having more investors and bonds to sell. That allows us then to work on lowering the interest rate and minimizing the cost to the taxpayer ultimately. Once the bond sale occurs, it takes about 2 weeks for everything to be memorialized and then the transaction to close, at which point, as in the past, funds will be deposited with the county and will be available for the district's construction program. So just to give you a peek at interest rates, we hit all-time lows somewhere about 2 years ago, around 2022, when interest rates went down as low as 2%. You may recall that the district did in fact avail themselves of a bond sale at that time and a refinancing at that time. The board had the foresight to refinance some of the previous bonds, lock in that lower cost, those historically lower interest rates to the benefit of the taxpayers. Since then, interest rates have been on a rising trend. They have stabilized more or less in the last year or so for the most part. Interest rates we anticipate are somewhere in the 4.5% to 5% range right now is where we anticipate they'll be. Certainly not the lowest that interest rates have been, but some of you may remember when mortgage rates were 12% and 14%. And so where the taxpayer will still be getting, while not the lowest historical rates, they will still be getting, we anticipate at the time we lock in interest rates, they will be getting a favorable interest rate on these bonds and thereby reducing the cost to the taxpayers to pay back the bonds. So with that, the last page of my presentation is right, presenting some information to the board. We'll come back at a future meeting with the resolutions for the board's consideration. We're anticipating meeting with the rating agencies around the middle of February. There is an action required by the LA County Board of Supervisors as part of your bond sale that will occur in early March. We hope to go into the market sometime in mid-March to be able to sell the bonds. The timing of the bond sale may vary a little bit as we go in. We don't want to go into the market the day that there is a job report or some major economic news. And we don't want to go on the market the same day that LACCB is selling $750 million of bonds because our bond may get lost in that trouble. So in conjunction with Mr. Wright, we will work optimally suggesting a timing to go into the market. We always invite the county treasurer's office to participate in the bond sale as well. That's another set of eyes looking over to make sure that the district and your community is getting the best deal possible. So they will be participating, they will participate, and we're going to participation. By the end of March, we anticipate closing the transaction where monies, not only the local funds will be available, at this point it's estimated to be somewhere between $45 and $50 million. We're working on finding that number. But what your staff, your Superintendent Mariotti and Dr. Priest have been doing is they've also been urging us to be able to work with the state to be able to take those local dollars. As you may remember, not only our measure passed, but two also passed at the state level. The district is eligible, so now that you have a local match to acquire some of those funds that you've done in the past, bring them back to your district. So your staff is working with us to be able to bring back some of those dollars as well. Hopefully leverage every single dollar that we let the local taxpayers come and bring back from Sacramento some dollars back to our community to be able to put it. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, happy to answer any questions you may have about the overall process.
One question on the persons on the CBOC.
Yes, sir.
A parent of a student is one of the requirements.
Yes.
Is that? I know it takes longer than 8 years for the bonds all to sell. That student graduates or promotes out. The parents still stay on the board.
Good question, sir. I believe the answer is no. I will defer to bond counsel and get your staff an answer. But the terms are only 2 years, so presumably the individual will be termed up, maybe termed up by the time you have the student graduate. So I haven't been asked that question before, so I will get your staff an answer.
Thank you.
No further questions. Thank you. Next week, the California School Dashboard. Dr. Goins.
So speaking of bonds, just kidding. Why we get bonds, so we can start supporting our kids, right? So here's where we're at right now. So first of all, I want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. Around December every year, we come up with, or the state of California comes up with a dashboard that tells us how we did in the previous year. Tonight, I'm going to present to you some of the outcomes of that dashboard performance from the 23-24 school year moving into this school year. And this is how we base our plans for our local control and accountability plan, as well as our school plans for student achievement, and all those wonderful safety plans that we put together to make sure that we are doing the right things by kids. Starting off, I did want to make sure that we come back. You've seen this slide pretty much every time I come up here, but I keep on bringing it up because at the end of the day, this is all about the local. This is all about how we service. It's all about the work that we do to be able to service students. It starts with the local control and accountability plan. It actually starts above that with the strategic plan. And whereas the LCAP is that piece that operationalizes everything else that we do so that we can make everything happen in the places. And at the bottom end of this, where we start talking about student groups, informative measures, and all these other pieces, this is where our dashboard kicks in, because this is the base piece of our needs analysis that we do to be able to push the work that we're going to be doing for the following year and how we're going to end up making it happen. So this is why I continuously come back to this, because it's absolutely the basis of the work that we do in terms of the CEPA office and definitely the district as a whole. So I jump back into the idea of what is the California School Dashboard. So we all know that the California School Dashboard, the focus of this is an ability for parents to be able to have an understanding of how our schools are doing and how our district is doing. That's the point of the dashboard. It's based on three main pieces: status, change, and student groups. When we talk about status, in the old days, Sam, today, Cindy, myself, we would come up and we would tell you this is where we're at, and that's what it was. It's no longer that. It's about this is where we're at, and this is what we've done over the past year. How have we changed? Have we gotten better? Have we slipped a little bit? Where are we at in terms of our dashboard? Where are we at in terms of our academic achievement, our chronic absenteeism, suspension, English language progress, and as well as our math and language arts. And now science. Skip this one, I'm back. So this is what I want to I'm going to take a second to kind of go over with you all. Understanding that this is all about status and change. We call it status and change, or hopefully status and growth. If you look at status and change, if you're looking at a math situation, if you look at status, that's your y-axis. Change is your x-axis. That's the thing that you look to try to push year in and year out. So you can sit in a situation where we are sitting at a very low status and still score in a medium area because of the fact that we've changed so significantly in terms of our academics. On the flip side, you can also be scoring super high and decline, and therefore not be in that, you'll still be in that same yellow status. That's how we appear to our families, our community, and in those particular spaces. So that's why I come back to this slide. It talks about how our dashboard has a multiple measure of how we're doing our work. It's a way that we're able to tell a story that doesn't normally get told in academics. Usually you're told you're doing good or you're doing bad, and that's how it is. But we're able to say, no, this is where we're at, and this is how we've changed, and how we've gotten better, or how we've slipped. So in this particular way, it's more than a number, multiple measures. We also have something called the local indicators that fall into this that we're going to talk about later on in the year as we move forward. But I'll briefly go over it a little bit tonight, but not spend a whole lot of time on it. There is a focus on equity with this, and the fact that what this does for us is it actually talks about each one of our individual student groups. In the past, we used to say that we've got 12, we've got 10, 11, 12 student groups. There's actually 14 available student groups, of which Lancaster School District is responsible for every single one, and all of them show up on our dashboard. And then finally, it's the support of decision making. It helps us be in a position to be able to make decisions that will hopefully better serve the students that we have, and make them achieve to a higher degree, show up to school to a higher degree, and make sure that their behaviors are increasingly getting better. So our dashboard state indicators, there's two separate kinds of indicators that you have. You have local indicators that are judged by us, our district. Each district has the opportunity to do that. And then there are the state indicators. The state indicators that we are responsible for on this list are academic performance. That's both ELA and math, so it's English language arts and math. English learner and also now science that just popped in this year. This is the first year we're going to see you're going to see that on the dashboard. There's also the English learner progress indicator that judges and looks at how are we servicing our English learners, our multilingual learners throughout the district. Chronic absenteeism discusses how are our students attending to school? Are they coming to school? And to what rate are they coming to school? And then suspension rate, obviously, are our students getting in trouble when they are coming to school? We do not have graduation rate or college career readiness because we don't have high school in Lancaster School District. These are the local measures. So under our local dashboard measures, what we have in place are basic conditions, implementation of academic standards, climate surveys, parent involvement, family engagement, and access to courses. These are items that at the end of the year, in fact, by legislation, I'm required to have reported all of these aspects of our local indicators on the same day that we
present to the LCAP for approval. So that's what this is all about. So for instance, we aren't held accountable for how we do with these local indicators. It's the fact that we report these local indicators to you and that this is how we've done on this particular area. So for instance, we just received our youth group results from our local climate survey. Those will be coming to you soon. As soon as we've done that, we can say that we've reported them to you. That item will be put back when we are able to, when we report. It's not the, it's one of those areas where we're given a little bit of leverage to make sure that we're making sure that we're talking to the public. So now what I want to do is I want to jump into the actual, how we actually did on the dashboard. I start with chronic absenteeism because this is probably an area that was this area of strength for us on the dashboard. So I want to define chronic absenteeism really quick. I know some of you probably belabored by it for everybody else here. When we talk about chronic absenteeism, we're talking about students attending to school. If a student has 10% absences throughout a school year, which or have misses school at a rate of 10% in a school year, they are considered chronically absent. So in 180 days, because that's about the length of our school year, if you've missed 18 school days, you are considered chronically absent. After you're considered chronically absent at that 18th day, because that's the end of the school year, then that student is now going to be on our dashboard as a student who's considered chronically absent. So now we know we're able to monitor our students over time now. Like today, we're able to see where our students are today. We have students who are nearing chronic absenteeism, and we can jump on those students to make sure that we're getting the work done to make sure that we're getting into school early on today, based on what we know. This is how we did. In this space, we are scoring, or all student groups are scoring at a rate of, are scoring in the median range. However, our chronic absenteeism rate is still at 36.2%. However, the benefit to us is that it declined, our chronic absenteeism declined by over 5%. So that's a good thing. There were days when we saw before COVID, we know COVID has changed things significantly. We're 17%, as you will attest to this, that 17% was where we were sitting, and that's kind of working. We're not always happy about that. COVID has changed quite a bit. So now we're sitting at about 36.2% for all student group when you put everybody into the, throw everybody in the mix. Some highlights here though, are the fact that almost all of our student groups decline in their chronic absenteeism. That is great. That means that there's something happening in terms of connectedness, belonging in our schools. That's what we're trying to get at. That's what chronic absenteeism really is gauging, is what's the connectedness and the belonging within our schools. Areas of concern in this space, though, are both of our Asian and Filipino populations who both increased, and also our white students all increased this year. Are there any questions? So our academic indicator is a little different. We call this the distance from standard. There's three main measures we talk about here. Under the academic indicator, it's English language arts, math, and science now. So our academic indicator, what we have, this is all based upon the California Assessment for Student Progress and Proficiency, our CASP. So you've already reported the CASP results for the district. However, and it's a test given grades 3 through 8 for all of our students in both mathematics, science, language, and language arts. And it calculates the distance from standard, which means that in every single grade that we have, this is what standard is for this grade. So each student is given a distance from standard. So for instance, one of those students, the student standing in the middle at plus 12, he was 12 points above the standard. Whereas that student on the far end was negative 12 points below the standard, which would even it out if it was just those two to 0 points, would be right at that standard space. So what they're doing is they're taking all of our students, adding them all up, and dividing them by how many students we had, and that turns into our distance from standard. Okay. This is where we were sitting in terms of our English language arts. Now I want to make a significant point here. We have been focusing heavy on early literacy over the last 3 years. And in that space, with all the schools that we've been focusing on that early literacy piece, we are starting to see progress in the lower grades. So it has not made itself evident yet in the upper grades. We're headed in that direction if you look at our formulas. So with our all students, a couple pieces to point out is that what you're seeing is that our all students, our status was at 74.4 points distance from standard distance from standard, so negative 74.4 points with a change of negative 3.4. So there was a drop in that score for our all student population. Another piece to see with that is that you still see, like with our Filipino student group, they were negative 1.9 points distance from standard, but they also declined by negative 18.2 points, which was something which was a little bit of a shock. For math has been tough because we know that we've been focusing so hard. We've been focusing in many areas, and talk about math it's always a tougher subject for us to broach. Our all student group, in terms of our mathematics scores, scored 109 points below or distance from standard, with a change of negative 2.4 points. So they went down a little bit. However, a benefit to this and a piece that is actually supporting us and showing us that there's good work happening. Look at our 2 or more races. That's a student group that had some differentiated assistance last year that will likely not be showing up in the 24-25 areas where we're going to be in different systems, because they actually grew by 5.5 points. For our science indicator, this is the first time we're seeing the science indicator. I'm just throwing this up here just so you guys can see it, because we're going to be in a position where we're going to be using this in terms of how we are doing forward in 25, 26, 6, 27, so on and so on and so on. 24, 25, in the 24 dashboard, we didn't see any color performance. However, we do see that on our overall 25.2, we're scoring 25.2 points below standard with a change of negative 0.7. So we dropped by 0.7 from the previous year, from the 23-24 school year. So I'm going to stop really quick because then I'm going to get into English language proficiency, but I wanted to stop and see if there's any questions.
Get a color next year.
For science, yes. So like if we got a color this year, I would assume, looking at what I know about the 5x5 and how it's rated, we'd be sitting at 6. So for our English learner progress indicator, this is a bright spot for us. So this English learner progress indicator actually talks about how our multilingual learners are picking up the English language, and to what rate are they picking up English language. The idea is they're picking it up by 1 band per year. This is what we're looking to try to get at. So this reports on the progress on the progress of multilingual learners in terms of picking up English language. And it also, for the first year, above the state of California, for the first year, they included our long-term English learners. So that turned us into a position. So now we're looking at both of our EL students who are not considered long-term English learners, so our students who might be in America first, who might be in K-5. Now we're including we're talking about our LTLs, our long-term English learners, who are our students who haven't picked up English language, haven't reclassified after the 6th grade. That's why when Ms. Queen comes up and she talks about reclassification, that's such a big deal. We have to celebrate that. We have to be happy about the fact that these students are reclassifying out of the English language program. So with this space, for academic indicators, again, this is another academic indicator, but for the English learner progress indicator, we saw ourselves scoring in the medium space. 48%, where about 48% of our English learners, or multilingual learners, are on the whole grasping the English language, and they're moving up 1 band a year. The other piece of this is that it actually changed. It went up by 1.8%. Had that 1.8% been 3%, that yellow color would have been a green color. That's how close we are to many of these pieces. So this is the last indicator that we talk about is our suspension rate indicator. This is considered, so this is an interesting one because when we talk about suspension, generally speaking, we count every suspension in terms of the students when we suspend a student, because we're looking at how many days a kid missed, how many times the kid is out of class. That's what we're looking at. However, on the California dashboard, suspension is only considered after the first suspension. So a student will end up on the dashboard as a suspension after 1 suspension. That's it. So if you suspend them twice, doesn't affects the dashboard. What we need to be doing at this point, and what we are doing, is looking at how can we keep that student from being suspended the second time if they are suspended. And I got to tell you, like just looking at the local data that we have, I'll show it to you. We'll be showing it to you as we get closer to the local control accountability plan and as we go through the process. But one of the things that we do have with that has really been a benefit is the fact that we are seeing less students suspended the second, the third, fourth time, which means that there's something happening after the suspension, be it us making sure that we're connecting with that student afterwards, making that kid feel like he belongs back in the system. That's that restorative piece that Ms. Casey has been pushing so hard to make sure that we're doing well, as well as in this space, as for our all student groups, that was the wrong colors. For our all student group, we're actually red in terms of suspension. So that in and of itself, at 6.6%, we are red in terms of suspension with 0.1 with an increase of 0.1. That actual color is not correct, but the numbers are correct. The numbers are correct. We have increased our suspensions. However, we've increased our suspension. However, when we look at our boss review, which was a group that was getting us in trouble back a while ago, we have declined that. Okay. The work that we are doing with that boss review group is actually being supportive. We're being supportive of that particular student. So that being said, the dashboard is really about us being able to communicate with families as we move forward into the next couple of months. Mr. Wynn was at the last town hall meeting. I really appreciate that. When we have those town hall meetings, we're going to be having conversations with our families about this dashboard and going over how and why are we where we're at and how can we affect positive change in the students that we serve from an equity lens, because we're going to be dealing with each one of our student groups to make sure that they are being served correctly. So with that said, are there any questions? Final questions? I did my best to give you a couple options. Okay. Very much.
We'll move into individual action item. Approval of change order number 2 with Coastal Construction Group for relocation of T3 and T4 at Armagosa Creek Middle School. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Approval of amendment number 1001 to agreement of construction services. Viola. Motion.
All
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Approval of ratification of agreements with Bailey for the Office of Public School Construction, OPSC audits. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Individual action items, educational services, approval of overnight study trip to create open robotics tournament. Second.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Public hearing. Hearing opened at 7. Public hearing, California School Employees Association. CSEA and its chapter number 297. Initial proposal to Lancaster School.
I don't see any CSCA representatives. I can speak that the district is looking forward to a successful and positive negotiation process.
Closes at 7. Public hearing, Lancaster School District initial proposal to the SCA in its chapter 297. Hearing open.
It goes smoothly.
And I guess the hearing will close. Individual action items, human resource. Approval of
Charles Coleman.
Coleman,
I'll make a motion.
Assistant Superintendent of Business Services.
I'll still make a motion. Second.
All right, first, yes. So as a current director of classified personnel, Mr. Coleman has been instrumental in for the past 3 years in working to help negotiate the CSEA contract and working with the employees, the classified employees in both professional, and I know he helps them personally as well. So he's appreciated for that. He has over 20 years in education with a master's degree in education, bachelor's degree in business administration, and recently completed the USC School Business Management Program, earning his CASBO Chief Business Officer certification. He is most proud of the Lancaster School District and what we do for our students, our staff, and our community. And lastly, he has a very strong passion for the University of Michigan and the Detroit Lions.
All that's it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations. Acknowledgement of receipt of the School Employees Association. Lancaster School District. Motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Acknowledgement of receipt of Lancaster School District initial proposal for the California Employees Association in its chapter 7. Motion by Mr. Dorn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Approval of final tentative agreement with teacher associations of Lancaster, revised salary schedules in AB 1200, 2024 to 2025.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gray. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Approval of unrepresented final compensation agreement and revised salary schedules and 100, 2024, 2025. Motion by Mr. Second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Approval of provisional internship permit for 2024 to 2025 school year.
Oh, second.
Motion by Mr. Gray. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Addressing the board. Individuals who wish to address the board may complete a speaker card and present it and any supporting documents to the superintendent's assistant and other district official prior to the start of the meeting. Personal information such as a student, parent, guardian's name, address, phone number, date of birth, email address, and other directory information is defined in Education Code 49061 may be excluded from the minutes of the meeting by submitting a written request to the superintendent. The president shall recognize individuals who wish to speak. Individuals wishing to present testimony to the board concerning specific items on the agenda may do so once the item has been moved, seconded, and is on the floor for discussion. Time limits of 3 minutes per person and 20 minutes per item shall be allowed. Board bylaws 9322. Board members may ask questions for clarification purposes. However, no action may be taken and no discussion may take place on an item not on the posted agenda. Brown Act. Comments from PTA? CSEA. Kyle? Comments from you?
Have a speaker.
Welcome, Sanders.
I'm here from Life Source Charter School. Wanted to thank the board for many years of collaborative community support. Life Source has now gone international, and with that, about a year ago, we knew that we would have to change our charter status. So the board met last month, and I wanted to come personally to thank you and let you know that we will not continue past June 2025 with our charter status. We will do something else in the community. We'll continue to be a collaborative, community-based, and support the community, but we will not continue our charter status. We just want to say thank you for the many years of support. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Next, we'll move on to consent agenda items. Items 18A through 18E.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gregg, second by Mr. Key. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Found. Texas. And electrical workers. All the donations they have made to the local government. I know if any of you have gone to our events sponsored by the Welcome Wellness, you'll be just amazed what is support. Join us one of these Saturdays to look at what the community.
You're doing an amazing job. Amazing. Any opposed? That'll be no. So vote passes 5-0. Consent agenda items, business items 19A through 19B.
Moved.
Motion by Mr. Key. All in favor? Question? None opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Agenda items, educational services, items 20A through 20Q. Motion by Ms. Julie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or question? Motion passes 5-0. Consent agenda items, human resources services, items 21A through 21F. Motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any questions? Motion passes 5-0. Consent agenda items, student and family services, items 22A through 22G. Motion by Mr. Flynn. All in favor?
Aye.
Question? Motion passes 5-0. On our legislation policy discussion, I brought the first reading. We'll move on to our comments from the board and superintendent. Start out.
Okay. Well, thank you guys all for hanging out. It's been fun. Schools that hung out for the safety plans, just in case we have questions. Thank you for that too. If you guys got questions, they're still here. You could use your time for that. Congratulations to our red ribbon winners. It's always cool to see the billboards around town. It makes me smile a little bit when I see it, even though I never see my kids on there and they never can quite have the talent to be there. But I have grandkids coming up, so maybe they'll get on the board. Congratulations to our better residents and the ones starting. That seems like a really cool program. Really cool to hear about Nancy Corey and all they got going with their 96% attendance, which is awesome, and all their 452 socks they donated to Grace Resources and all the other stuff they are doing with the community, the liaisons, and really nice to see them doing a great job. And it was nice to hear from Kush, our CFW long guy, since I've been on the board and Greg's been on the board. He's been on a long time, and so we're familiar with his stuff, but it's a big, long process. So we're excited to get to spend some money and make our sites better for our students and staff. So with that, I'll move on. Thank you.
We'll move on.
Glad to see my people from PSA. They're presenting. It's really nice to see that with and all of the things that they put into it and all of what you guys. I mean, I couldn't believe that. And I appreciate that. Nancy Corey, Mr. Denning and staff. What a wonderful presentation about community school focus. I think it made it very clear, everyone, exactly what community schools are, what they're supposed to be doing, and really it's a whole child focus. And Dr. Boyd, thank you so much. Informative as always. Good to see that there are some mediums in there. When I left, I think we were a lot in the red. So it looked like there were some areas that maybe there have been some improvements. I really appreciate that as well. Good to hear about our bonds. Trish and Mr. Wright, thank you so much for coming out and supporting us basically and making sure that we're doing everything right. Hearing this going in and out. Yeah. It's all right. It's enough. Thank you.
Mr. T. Okay, yeah, great, formative board meeting. A lot of people involved. It was great to see, heard out everybody. The red ribbon, our contest winners, always delightful. I love seeing those billboards around town. And this one, I really got to take the bugs, not drugs. I thought that was really cute. The Better program, it's great to see the training of the new teachers and that they're putting them to work right away and getting them in the classrooms. And I know all our schools are. And Nancy Corey, excellent presentation of all the different programs, how you're building your school through community school and meeting the needs of the kids, the parents, all the programs, all the different programs. The bond overview, PFW, and Mr. Wright. Thank you for helping us walk through that process. And also thank you to the community for believing in our district and for helping us get that with 67%. That was phenomenal. And Dr. Goins, again, thank you for the information about the dashboard. It's neat to see how our district is working to improve in all those different areas. Also, Charles Coleman, congratulations. Look forward to all your work.
Thank you, Mr. Wayne. Well, first of all, it's very nice seeing Nancy Coleman. She is she's quite the person, has been with the district for many, and it was nice to have her. I'm surprised she's not out judging dogs. She's quite the person. So thank you, for having me here. Thank you to Mr. Coleman for taking the job for the future of our business services department. We are, from the sounds of your resume, quite pleased with you doing that. Dashboard always can be better. Teachers are, from the looks of it, Jordan was saying they're making some headway, the students, and that's good. We increased 24 students from our last meeting, which is excellent. And surprising, we have so many military family students in our district. That's means they're coming from Edwards, some of them, here to Lancaster to go to school. Which means our reputation is widespread. And I hope that continues. I hope we get back the 200 that we've lost over the year, and I'm sure we will. Thank you to Dr. Marietti for continuing to update us on his home repair business. I mean, I don't know. He said it was so cold out there he could hardly go out to work. And I guess when it gets down into the 30s and 20s for here, that is pretty bad. Thank you for keeping us updated on your house. I'll pass them very much to all of you who come out to these meetings. Everybody appreciates it.
Great. Just echo everything the board has said. Nancy Corey, thank you for coming out. Excited about the bond and selling bonds and starting to put that money to work to improve our school facilities. I think the Better Project is a wonderful project. and we're happy to have that program in our schools and in our district and program. I want to thank Dr. Goins for coming out and making this presentation and all of that services, the work they do in educating our children in our curriculum instruction and our ed services program. I do want to just make one note that as soon as this meeting is adjourned, if you would like to leave, free, and then we're going to start up our Lancaster School District and School Facilities Corporation meeting. So we'll just
don't want to miss because that's super exciting.
Do not have to stay for the annual school facilities corporation meeting. Don't feel obligated to stay. Okay, thank you.
Totally downplaying it. It's so fun.
Okay, I'm sorry. They just crossed me out. All right. Congratulations to all of our students that participated in the Red Ribbons art contest. I think all the work that they did was fabulous, and not only congratulations to them, but also their schools as well as the parents that supported our project and came up to support them. Alicia, thank you again for running an absolute great program, getting our teachers in, getting them trained, getting them ready, and adding to our family, as well as any of the new incoming teachers that will be, or future teachers that will be participating in that. So looking forward to that as well. Thank you, Mr. Denning. As usual, Nancy Corey has done a fabulous job on the report, so thank you so very much. I had an opportunity to attend your fall festival, so it was really, really awesome. So if you guys have an opportunity to go there the next upcoming one, forward to it. And as far as your parent participation, seeing your organizations out there, your parents out there participating in fundraising, it was really undersold here in your presentation as much as they get involved. So thank you, parents, as well, for coming out and doing what you do. If all of our schools get like that, we're going to be. Thank you so much. Thank you again to Mr. Kusher and Mr. Wright for everything that you're doing as far as assisting our district on measure. It's so important. So I appreciate everyone that went out and voted and really found how important it's going to be for our upcoming. Dr. Glorians, as usual, thank you for your report. I appreciate, transparency in explaining, how we're going to be affected, not just in, one end or the other end of the extreme, but also, pointing out that gray area that is often missed and really clarifying how we're improving and being honest about where we're going, where we've been in the progress that is shown. Thank you so much. Mr. Coleman, what can I say? I am very happy to have you aboard. I remember you were the first person that greeted me outside when I came onto the board in the freezing cold, mind you. I didn't even know who you were. So it's been a pleasure working with you. I look forward to working with you as well. Of course, missed you, but you're gonna. So thank you so much. With that all said, if I missed anybody, just know I appreciate you anyway. We are going to adjourn at 7:43 p.m.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Keaton, second by Mr. Moore. All in favor?
Aye.
I assume there's none opposed, so motion passes 5-0. Second.